Good morning, everyone. You're tuned in to episode 1 of Kayfabe Coffee, the show that keeps it real while we pretend it's real. Hey, everyone. Good morning. I'm your host, Mr. OTM, Kyle Gagliardi, the barista of broken kayfabe, if you will, pouring out hot takes stronger than a Starbucks shaken espresso. Welcome to the debut episode of Kayfabe Coffee here on the Main Event Wrestling Network. As you can see, dressed to the nines this morning in my OTM work polo. If you didn't hear the news, your boy is no longer working. Unfortunately, I lost my job last week. Don't need to get into the details. No reason to make it public. Just know that this is my job now, and I appreciate you guys taking some time out of your day to come hang out and talk professional wrestling with me. And it looks like we already got somebody in the comment section. Look at that. The first comment in the history of Kayfabe Coffee goes to the great Brown Hope. And GBH, I'm going to really enjoy this show because I'm just going to treat this as I'm just sitting down next to you guys, enjoying our coffee. As you can see, I got my iced coffee in my Indiana glass. Let me take a sip real quick. Yeah, it's not as cold as it is outside here in Northwest Indiana, but it'll do the job. I'm a big Starbucks guy. That's why I had to throw the Starbucks shaken espresso comment there in the intro. But as you can see, this is a morning wrestling talk show, so it's going to be more laid back, as I mentioned earlier. And I love coffee, so we put those two things together. Here you go, Kayfabe Coffee. Now, this isn't always just going to be a solo show. I'm going to have guests from time to time, and honestly, there might be a point where we accept call-ins to this show. So if you're ever watching live, or maybe you watch back at a later date and you want to comment on YouTube, be like, hey, Kyle, let me get on Kayfabe Coffee tomorrow morning. I think we can make that work. But I will say this, I have done some thought on the scheduling of this show. I don't think I'm going to be live Wednesday morning just because I am always live Tuesday night after NXT, talking NXT. And that's what this show really is going to be. I'm going to, recap, review, talk about the headlines in professional wrestling, and recap the most recent show. So today, on Mondays, I'm probably going to be recapping whatever happened on the weekend, whether that's AEW related. This weekend, obviously, the Royal Rumble happened in Saudi, which I have a lot of thoughts, as I'm sure you guys do, and I've seen a lot of people online complaining, as they usually do, and that's okay. I want to put that out there. It's okay to complain. But if that's your only trait, that's your only contribution to the internet, why are you watching wrestling, brother or sister? Sorry, I know there's some women out there that watch professional wrestling, but not many on this network, which, by the way, if you're a woman, come say hello. We're not shy over here, and I promise I can't speak for everybody else in the network. I'm a normal human being. And as you can see, give me a follow on my socials at 2SweetKyle. That's where you're going to keep up with all the show news and what's going on here with the Main Event Wrestling Network. And, of course, make sure you're following the network on all the socials at mainevent_net. That QR code up there right above me, you scan that, it's going to take you to everything Main Event Wrestling Network related. Man, we're doing some big things over here in 2026. If you haven't seen what we are doing, please scan that QR code because we have a lot going on. It's not just the YouTube content. It's not just the podcast. It's the blog World Order. It's Pluggo. It's JPJ. We got some new additions here at the Main Event Wrestling Network. So welcome to those new additions. It's going to be a fantastic 2026 here at the main event. But guys, I think that's enough chit-chat. I think we should talk some wrestling. So before we do, once again, take a sip of your coffee this morning. Maybe you're an energy drink guy. If you're an energy drink guy, leave me your favorite energy drinks in the comments. Myself, I'm a White Monster guy. That's still the go. But cheers to you. Good morning. Let's get this thing going. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's start with the Women's Royal Rumble. Obviously, Liv Morgan, as you know, is the winner of this year's Royal Rumble. And honestly, I'm not that mad at it. I mean, yes, is it predictable? Sure. A lot of WWE lately has been very predictable, which is some point a fault. I think that you can sometimes have to surprise your audience with a different winner. Chelsea Green, for example, I think could be a fun surprise, but I get why they did the Liv Morgan thing. She's a superstar. She is over like Rover. and she has never won the Women's Royal Rumble. She was runner-up twice. So might as well throw her a bone and give her this moment while Stephanie Vaquer is the champion and while Raquel Rodriguez is involved in that title, because that might be the direction of the women's title going forward, because we saw Liv Morgan eliminate Raquel Rodriguez from the Royal Rumble. So that right there in itself could have been the hint. And I know Mr. Cincinnati said it last night on episode 3 of the Dusty Finish, which if you haven't checked that out, go ahead and do so after this. I mean, it's just, Liv Morgan is great. I love Liv Morgan. I shouldn't say love Liv Morgan. That's a little extreme. I'm not a fan of Liv Morgan, but I get the appeal of her. She looked great in this Royal Rumble. I want to give her credit because I think that final 3 right there was fantastic between Tiffany Stratton, Liv Morgan, and Sol Ruca, which Sol Ruca, we talked about it once again on the Dusty Finish last night. What a showing it was for her getting to the final 3. Now, if you're somebody that might be a main roster casual, you might not know much about this NXT talent, this NXT wave coming into the main roster right now. But I tell you this, Sol Ruca and Lash Legend, they are future WrestleMania main eventers. I don't think that's crazy to say. I think these two women are basically just set up for the main event once they get called up to the main roster. Now, these are two women that also have never held the NXT women's title, which goes to show you it's not always about the titles. You can make waves by doing other things amongst your brand. And Sol Ruca, yes, she's had plenty of titles. She just hasn't held the big one yet in NXT, but that still is going to be her career highlight. That's what's going to put Sol Ruca on the map, along with her match at Saturday night's main event that she had the other month. This right here at the Royal Rumble, that was her coming out party. Now everybody knows who that is. And now you can call her up after a WrestleMania. I still think that there's still some things she could do with Zarya and Zaruka down there in NXT, and then we're eating. And then it's go time. And then let's send up Sol Ruca. Lash Legend's already up on the main roster. Shout out to JC Jane for making an appearance in the Women's Royal Rumble, representing NXT. Shout out to the NXT Night Shift co-host, Jay Gold, in the chat. He's at work, and he's still commenting. And that's what I want to encourage you guys. It's okay. You could tell your boss, hey, Mr. OTM's live. We got to talk wrestling. I got to drink my coffee with someone, right? But yeah, just an awesome showing from all the NXT women that made an appearance there in the Women's Royal Rumble. I said it last night, but I'll say it again right here if you missed it. I think the Women's Rumble was better than the Men's Rumble. Some of you might disagree with that. But I think that's now a couple years where we have seen the women outperform the men, whether that be just based off of the entrance, because a lot of people get mad about the entrance, which is fair. It's not like it used to be. The WWE really relied on surprises for a lot of that time back in the day, but we have such a loaded, deep roster here in the WWE to where they don't need to go outside of the active roster to bring in people. I love the additions of the AAA guys, but we'll talk about that too more when I get into the actual Men's Royal Rumble itself. But more from the Women's Royal Rumble. Obviously, you could do Liv versus Raquel out of this. You could do Liv versus Raquel versus Roxanne. You could do a Judgment Day women's triple threat for that title. You could just do the standard Liv Morgan versus Stephanie Vaquer, which I think would be fine. Or you could do a triple threat in that way, where it's Liv versus Stephanie versus Raquel, because I don't know if I'm 100% sure with this take, but I think that Raquel Rodriguez has a title match tonight. So she might win the women's title tonight. And then Stephanie Vaquer is just going to be pushed into the background, which I don't want to happen. I think Stephanie Vaquer is somebody you want to have on the WrestleMania card. To me, you put her up there with Io Sky. Those are the two best women's talent that you have on planet Earth. I'm not just saying WWE. I'm talking the whole entire planet. These are the top two right here. Io Sky, Stephanie Vaquer. So if there's no spot for Stephanie at WrestleMania, I'm going to be disappointed. But I would understand why they would rather go Liv Raquel or use it more with the storyline of the Judgment Day than just going with straight up Liv versus Stephanie Vaquer, because we don't really have anything right now. Sure, they got plenty of time to tell that story if they wanted to, but there's already that pre-existing story with Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez within the Judgment Day that I think they're probably going to go to. Really shocking we didn't see Bianca Belair. If you watched OTM on Thursday, I was very confident that Bianca Belair was going to return. She was going to win the Royal Rumble, and she was going to face Jade Cargill at WrestleMania. That definitely could still happen. Her facing Jade Cargill at WrestleMania. Obviously, she can't win the Royal Rumble, but her not being in it was surprising. AJ Lee not being in it was kind of surprising, but then again, I know her morals, and I know what their opinion is of the Saudi Arabian culture. Same thing with CM Punk, even though CM Punk was in attendance in Saudi. He's been there the last couple times, so maybe that had nothing to do with it. Maybe they just said, you know what, we're going to save AJ Lee. We're going to put her on the back burner. We're going to bring her back after the Royal Rumble, and then maybe she'll feud again with Becky Lynch, and they can finally have that singles match at WrestleMania. Another name I'm surprised we didn't see, Paige. I know, once again, that might have just been, the internet hyping it up. There might not have been a lot of truth to it. It might have just been a lot of fluff, but Paige has been getting back into the ring. Saraya, known as in AEW. I don't know if I need to see her back in the WWE, but I would welcome it. I wouldn't mind Paige getting another run in the WWE. I think she looks great. I think she could still go, and I think she could still contribute to the WWE. But once again, shout out to those three at the end there, Tiffany, Sol Ruka, and Liv Morgan. Very exciting final three right there for the Women's Rumble. Shout out to Charlotte Flair, entered the Rumble at number 1, and she was the Iron Woman. I'll tell you what, they will do whatever it takes to make sure Charlotte at least has something on her resume coming out of every single match. I think she was always the runner-up in the Royal Rumble. They're like, Now, if she can't be the runner-up, she's got to be the Iron Woman. And this is coming from a guy that says Charlotte's the GOAT. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just telling you. That's probably their reasoning. They're like, we got to throw Charlotte a bone here. She's got to have some kind of accolade coming out of this Royal Rumble. But, speaking of Charlotte Flair, I think you do her versus Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania one-on-one. That's going to be fun. I've really enjoyed the dynamic between those two. Charlexa was my tag team of the year last year, so breaking up, having a storyline going into WrestleMania makes sense to me. I say we do it. Also, shout out to JC Jane and Lola Vice for getting decent reactions from the crowd. That I know I talked a little bit about the crowd last night, for the Men's Royal Rumble specifically, kind of just popping for the bigger names. But I thought they actually treated the Women's Royal Rumble better than I expected them to treat it. Not saying they did a great job as a crowd, but, when you're performing until 2 a.m. in the morning, it's probably tough to get loud and energetic for a lot of these matches. But just some strong women's performances in there that I really liked. And that's why I like the Women's Rumble more than the Men's Rumble coming out of it, because I think more stars were made in that Women's Royal Rumble compared to the Men's Royal Rumble. I only think there was a few stars that came out of that Men's Royal Rumble match. But that's all I really got to talk about when it comes to the Women's Royal Rumble as a whole. If there's anybody watching live right now, I'm curious on what you guys think as well. If you got any questions too, I'm down to answer anything. It's a morning talk show. We don't have to take this so seriously. So let's move on here, though, to another matchup. AJ Styles versus Gunther. Obviously, this was a career match on the line for AJ Styles, and Gunther did it again. The big bad, the legend, the new legend killer, I guess we could say. Gunther has retired AJ Styles at the age of 48. What a great match that was. Gunther just gets it. That's your prototypical A1 heel right there. That's the big bad in the WWE. They nailed it when they decided, hey, Gunther's going to be the one to end John Cena's career. We might as well just make him the new career killer and have him go on a killing spree, because he took out AJ Styles here, and AJ gave us one of his best matches that he's had over the past couple years. And that's why I love the end of AJ Styles' run here in WWE, because similar to John Cena's last couple matches, he let it all out there. You could tell that these guys were giving it all that they had here in their final matches. And I got nothing but respect for AJ Styles and what he has contributed to the pro wrestling industry as a whole. That guy is one of those Mount Rushmore guys that will definitely be talked about. To me, I think he's easily the Mount Rushmore for in-ring competitors, for sure. I put Shawn Michaels up there. I put AJ Styles up there. I'll probably put Bryan Danielson up there. And then I don't know who I would put in that 4 spot. I'd probably have to think about that a little longer. She should be highlighted. Who should be highlighted? Who are we talking about? Are you talking about Stephanie? Are you a little behind me now, Jay Gold? Are you on Tino's time? See what I did there? Tino's usually the one that's a little delayed in the chat. But no, I think, great match. It was definitely the match of the night at the Royal Rumble. Gunther defeating AJ Styles. Just a technical masterclass once again from Gunther. His pacing is incredible. The submission drama with that sleeper hold. Just chef's kiss. Just good stuff all around. Great story being told throughout that entire match. And to me, it's an A. It's not an A+. Not a lot of things are perfect in my opinion. But now I sit here and wonder, is this truly the end of AJ Styles? A lot of speculation going online. Is he going to go to AEW? Guys, he's not going to AEW. It's just not happening. I'm telling you right now. And if it does, okay, I'm wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. Doesn't matter. It's not happening. But TNA? AJ Styles to TNA, I think could be something. Does it need to happen? No. I don't. I think Jay Gold said it last night on the Dusty Finish. I don't think we need to see anything more out of AJ Styles. We've pretty much gotten it all. You guys might not have realized it, but the AJ Styles retirement tour was happening right in front of your face the entire time. They just didn't put a fancy label on it or make t-shirts like John Cena did because there's only one John Cena. Most wrestlers don't get to go out on their own terms. AJ's going out on his own sword, and I respect that. That's a true professional through and through, a guy that just gets it. AJ Styles is a legend in the game. Phenomenal. There's a reason they said he was phenomenal. One of one. There will never be another AJ Styles. AJ Styles actually was in the WWE, and people might not know this, more than he was in TNA. A lot of people think back to his time in TNA. Well, he was in WWE for a decade. 2016 is when he debuted. 2026 at the Royal Rumble is when he retires from the WWE. Now, we don't know for sure if it's an official retirement as a whole from professional wrestling, but I do believe that this is probably it in the WWE, at least on the main roster. I don't know if you count, TNA as WWE now since they're kind of in bed with them. Some people would, I wouldn't, but just an amazing match. Gunther is the perfect adversary and the perfect guy to be ending careers. And thank you, AJ Styles, for all that you contributed the past 10 years in the WWE, and of course, throughout your entire illustrious 3-decade career. You truly were the phenomenal one, and it was great to see you go out on a strong note here at the Royal Rumble. Next matchup. Now, this is a matchup I know one half of NXT Night Shift won't like. I know a lot of you don't like Sami Zayn, but I'm going to tell you, as someone that watched it back, and once again, if you're going to give me an opinion on a wrestling show and you didn't watch it a second time, I don't need your opinion. I'm sorry. You have to watch it a second time because you probably missed something that you didn't catch the first time. Go back and watch this match. It really wasn't that bad. I think a lot of it had to do with the crowd. Once again, I think there was a lull at that point of the show. And granted, you'd be like, oh, but Sami Zayn's their guy. Saudi Arabia always pops for Sami. I think we all knew Sami Zayn wasn't going to win that match. And it's hard to get emotionally invested and give everybody your energy. I know this for first-hand example when I go to shows. If I know somebody's not going to win, it's like, well, I'm kind of cheering for nothing here. So I want to keep my voice. Good morning, Tino. Good to see you, my friend. You got some door dashing to do this morning? You staying busy? Because this is my job. This is the new job right here. The Kayfabe coffee, baby. But no, it was a fine match. It wasn't anything spectacular by any means here with Drew and Sami Zayn. But if it sucked, if you think it sucked, I should say, I think you just don't like Sami Zayn. So let's not just I don't want to get into my Sami Zayn, soapbox here and defend him because I obviously am a fan of Sami Zayn if you didn't know. It's exhausting seeing online discourse of him being overrated and not talented because it's just not true. It's just not true. Sami Zayn is outstanding. This match, though, wasn't outstanding by any means, but that's okay. It was just fine. Not every match needs to be a fucking banger. Not every match needs to be 5 stars. I don't want to be wowed by everything. We need these kind of matches here. And then it's once again Drew dominating Sammy. That's the real story coming out of this. Drew McIntyre is 12-0 against Sami Zayn. Don't be surprised if Sami Zayn wins the Royal Rumble next year. They're going back to Saudi Arabia. Maybe they're pushing the Sami Zayn world title narrative back another year. Because I know a lot of people were talking about it being a possibility this year. I don't think that's going to happen this year anymore. I don't even know if he's going to be involved in the world title picture at WrestleMania. I have my doubts because I think it could just be a triple threat for the main title. Yes. I don't even know what you're saying yes to, J. Gold. See, you're probably behind. Oh, the chat is delayed. See, the chat has been very delayed lately. I don't know what it is. It was delayed on OTM last Thursday. Remember when we did our show last Thursday, it was delayed? And now it's delayed here again. Interesting, StreamYard. We're going to have to figure that out because I want to see these comments live, not delayed. There's a difference. And once again, Sammy versus Drew, it definitely was... Actually, it wasn't my least favorite match of the night. I would say the Men's Rumble was my least favorite match of the night, surprisingly enough. I liked it better than the Men's Rumble. That might be an unpopular opinion. There just wasn't really much to talk about and that came out of this match. It's mainly what's going to be going forward. And as you know, in the Men's Royal Rumble, Drew McIntyre got involved in that. We'll talk about that a little bit more when I start talking about the Men's Royal Rumble. Hey, Eric. Good morning. What's going on, man? What do you think main events for both nights? Cody, Fatu, Drew, and Roman and Punk. Yeah, I think those are your 2 main events right now, Eric. I think that's 100% what we are going to get. It's kind of what I was just alluding to there a couple minutes ago, is I don't think Sami Zayn's going to be a part of that world title scene going into WrestleMania this year. I think it's going to be pushed back to next year. I actually think a triple threat's probably the better option. Fatal 4-Ways can get... I don't think they're difficult to produce by any means. I think usually Fatal 4-Ways are entertaining, but triple threat with those 3 just seems like the better match. Of course, you got to get Cody into a main event. He's still QB1 after all. So it makes sense that he would be involved with Fatu and Drew. But let's hypothetically say Drew still got that title going into that WrestleMania match, and you do get that triple threat. I think you put the title on Jacob Fatu. I don't think it should go back to Cody. I think Cody getting the title does nothing good for anyone. I think Cody needs to start changing things up a little bit here as the year goes on. It could be a slow turn. Drew, yeah, I mean, if Drew retained, I wouldn't be mad. But defining moment for Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania 42 would be awesome. And Roman and Punk, listen, that's a marquee matchup. It's a headliner. The casuals are going to love it. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not, ecstatic about it. And I knew you'd be happy for Liv, Eric. I knew it. Hey, I told you she was my backup pick. I had faith in Liv Morgan. I just thought if Bianca was in the Rumble, Bianca should have won it. Well, she wasn't in it, so my backup pick won. It's not bad. Eric said I was teased. I really thought Tatum was going to be in. Yeah, I don't think that mural was 100% accurate, though, or the post or whatever that was circulating online. That could have been AI or something. We didn't see Tatum. We didn't see Blake Monroe. Yeah, I said it earlier. There's a few other big names that we didn't see in that Women's Rumble. But the last thing we're going to talk about here on the debut episode of Kayfabe Coffee is not Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn, because we just talked about that. We're going to talk about the Men's Royal Rumble. Now, the dusty finish last night. Go back on our YouTube channel, scan that QR code, go do it right now, and get ready and watch it after this show is done, and go look at our takes on the Men's Royal Rumble. This was my finish of the week, because I had a likes list, a dislikes list, and I'm just going to go down it for you guys again here, because some of you guys might not have caught it last night. Because the dislikes list outweighed the likes list, and it just felt underwhelming. I think that is the big word of the day for the Royal Rumble as a whole. I feel like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood here. The word of the day is underwhelming. But it is. And I, once again, just because you didn't like something doesn't mean it sucks. analyze something differently instead of just saying it sucks. It's not either it's good or it sucks. There's other levels to this. Underwhelming is a great way to describe the men's Royal Rumble match as a whole. What do you think, I'm blowing smoke? Is that what you're saying? Blowing smoke out your ears? Things I liked. Let's go there first. Let's be positive this morning. It's early in the morning. The things I liked in the men's Royal Rumble. Obafemi. The ruler. I mean, come on. What is there to say about Obafemi that hasn't already been said? We say it all the time on NXT Night Shift. We say it all the time on OTM. Obafemi is that dude. And they put him in that number one spot. And they said, all right, dude, go do your thing. They even gave him the Brock Lesnar treatment there for the first couple entrants. Which, by the way, this is a total tangent. Matt Cardona's theme song is so bad. Why couldn't we just do the one he was doing on the Indies, Always Ready? What is this generic-ass bullshit from Def Rebel? It is so bad. Big Four pay-per-view matches have to be 4 to 5 stars. There are times to show up. No, I disagree. I do not agree with that 100%. I don't think every match needs to be a banger on a 4-card pay-per-view. You are setting up things for a bigger stage. There are bigger shows out there. Granted, Royal Rumble is one of the bigger shows, so I get where you're coming from there. But, like, they still could just be setting all the things up for Elimination Chamber or for WrestleMania. Not saying Elimination Chamber is bigger than the Royal Rumble, because it's not, but we still got WrestleMania on the horizon. Maybe they're not trying to blow their load so soon. You know? Think about that. I don't think every match needs to be a 4 or 5 star. This ain't AEW. If you want 4 or 5 star matches for every single one of your matches on your pay-per-views, you can watch AEW. And that's the great thing about professional wrestling as a whole. Every company is completely different. But WWE, you're just not going to get that. That's not who they are. They've never been that way. Never. They've never been that way. They always have some stinkers on their card. Not intentionally, it just so happens to go that way every single time. It's crazy. But going back to the things I like with the men's Royal Rumble. Obafemi, because I think now you're going to have him face off against Brock Lesnar potentially at WrestleMania. And Lord, Oba needs to go over. I'm tired of Brock Lesnar. Don't need to see Brock Lesnar ever again in the WWE. It's similar to the AJ Styles thing. This has nothing to do with, outside of the ring shenanigans that I'm not going to get into. It has to do with on-screen in the WWE. Brock Lesnar provides no value anymore. And you might sit there and say, oh, well, listen to a reaction. Everybody's going to react to Brock Lesnar. Everybody's going to pop for Brock Lesnar. It doesn't matter what your opinion of him is, you're going to react. That doesn't gauge if they provide value to a company, because Brock really is doing nothing for the WWE right now. What did that WrestlePalooza match do for anyone against John Cena? I'll wait. Tell me. You can't. There's nothing that match did. Brock Lesnar in Survivor Series. Okay. Brock Lesnar in the Royal Rumble. Gets eliminated. During Jey Uso's entrance. Why are we doing an entrance in the middle of the Royal Rumble? I know it's his shtick, but it's getting old. I'm tired of it. And the fact that you eliminate one of your biggest stars during the running it back and he gets eliminated, it's like, what are we doing here? That needs to be treated like a bigger spot right there. Somebody of bigger stature needs to eliminate him. Cody and LA Knight? That's all we got? We know you guys don't like LA Knight. Not you guys, the fans. We know that the WWE doesn't like LA Knight. Why are we giving him a bone? It pissed me off. It's so bad. It's just, and where is Jimmy? They are tag team champions. And Jay gets a Rumble spot just because he has the fucking yeet? But Jimmy can't get in the Rumble? Get out of here. Javon Evans, what a showing, though. Back to the positives real quick with the men's Royal Rumble. Javon Evans was over 40 minutes in the Royal Rumble. I have no doubts that he is going to be a star on the main roster. He's one of those guys. We talk about it all the time where he doesn't need to win championships to be taken seriously. He had great moments in this Royal Rumble, and he's going to be remembered. We remembered his match at Saturday Night's Main Event when he teamed up with Leon Slater, too. This is all just exposure. This is just introducing Javon Evans to the main roster casuals. That boy bouncy. Man, is he bouncy. He's talented. Shout out to Royce Keys as well, formerly known as Powerhouse Hobbs. I know the crowd didn't react as well. I don't like the Saudi crowd. That's not a secret. But Royce Keys' presentation looked like a star. I love that the Powerhouse Hobbs name popped up there and they kind of just punched through the brick wall and then they showed up the Royce Keys. If you don't know the reason behind the name, Royce is the name of his son and Keys is the last name of his late mother. So that makes sense that he is honoring his family with that name. So I have no problems with Royce Keys. I think the theme song is fantastic. The pyro was very cool. And that dude, there's just certain guys that look like WWE stars. There is a WWE look. In Powerhouse Hobbs, Royce Keys, whatever you want to call him, he has it. He's going to be a big, big player in the WWE going forward. His ceiling is just much higher in WWE than it was in AEW, like a Ricky Saints, like an Ethan Page. I think it's going to be better over here. And then if you want to flip that coin, look at the most recent TNT Championship win. Tommaso Ciampa. It sometimes is greener on the other side. I think Tommaso Ciampa, and he's said it in interviews before, he loves that underground feel to a wrestling company. Tommaso Ciampa is going to probably benefit more being on the AEW main roster than he would have being a part of DIY. It's true. I love DIY. I love Tommaso Ciampa. But sometimes guys just fit better in other companies. Royce Keys is going to fit better in the WWE for sure. Eric said Soul and Javon will be World and Mania main event by 2030. So we're here in 2026. I'll give you Soul. I think Soul could be there by then. But man, there is a lot of big main event talent that I think still has to get the main event spot at WrestleMania before Javon. We still got to get to a Braun Breaker in the main event. I think we got to get to an Obafemi. We can maybe get to a Carmelo Hayes, an Ilya Dragunov, a Trick Williams. I think those guys are all right now, at least in my eyes, ahead of Javon Evans on the totem pole. But you know what? We got to have to talk about some of the things that we disliked as well. Saudi probably knew what doesn't know what AEW is. I mean, they were chanting AEW when Royce Keys came out. The last thing that I did like, though, from the Men's Royal Rumble, Drew eliminating Cody to potentially set up that triple threat at WrestleMania. I think that was just a nice touch. Wasn't anything crazy, but I like Drew getting back at Cody Rhodes because Cody Rhodes, similar to the guy that actually did win the Royal Rumble, doesn't need to win any more Royal Rumbles to get into the world title scene. Roman Reigns is my second favorite superstar of all time. I acknowledge my tribal chief. I take nothing away from Roman Reigns' performance in this Royal Rumble match. With that being said, Roman Reigns winning was the safe play. Similar to the Women's Royal Rumble, WWE's going to go with the safe route. We didn't need it. Roman Reigns could have called out CM Punk backstage or called him out on a Monday Night Raw and then get the spot in the main event at WrestleMania. You could have given this to Braun Breaker, and I know Braun Breaker was taken out, but I hated that spot. Braun Breaker is one of your future studs. He needs to be as strong as possible, and I feel like in the last 8 weeks, they have done the opposite to Braun Breaker. Ever since that title match against CM Punk the last couple weeks, he's kind of fallen off the face of the earth, in my opinion. So Braun Breaker getting taken out earlier, man, it doesn't do me anything. You know, I think you could have maybe taken out Braun in the middle of the Rumble. Have Braun stay in that Rumble to the very end, and then you have the Masked Man take him out and eliminate him from the Royal Rumble. We didn't need to waste that spot and do a quick elimination. If you want to do the Femi gauntlet, just have Cardona come out too. I know you spoiled Braun Breaker's entrance on SmackDown, but God, I mean, there's just other ways you could have gone about it. And sure, that's probably the direction, but I would have rather seen Braun get back at CM Punk over Roman Reigns. I mean, I love Roman Reigns, but it's just like, man, I just want to see something different for once. And this is coming from a guy that's usually positive. I'm not being negative. I'm just being honest in how I feel. How do you think they kicked Jacob? I don't know what you're talking about, Eric. I maybe I missed what they did to Jacob in that Royal Rumble match. I already talked about the Jey Uso entrance. I don't need to talk about that anymore. I already talked about Braun Breaker being taken out. Don't need to talk about that. The participants for this Royal Rumble. Rusev? Rusev. Why? Has he been on TV in the past couple months? No. Okay, don't get it. Finn Balor was right there. Could have put Finn Balor in the Royal Rumble. Granted, Finn Balor could be the attacker. I think the attacker is Austin Theory. I think Austin Theory is a double agent for Seth Rollins. He has ties to Seth Rollins in the past with Buddy Murphy. I think Austin Theory is just playing games right now with the Vision. And I think that's the direction they're going there. So I don't think Finn's the attacker. So I'm sitting here wondering where the hell Finn Balor was for this Royal Rumble. And I get it. Finn Balor might face off against Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania for that IC title. That seems to be the direction they might go. But here's another thing that is kind of irking me as of late with the WWE. If somebody's hurt for more than a month, let's take the title off of them. It's time. I want to see that title on TV. Dominic Mysterio is great. Dominic Mysterio is the future. He's the now. Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from him as an act. It's just if you're not on TV, you're not relevant anymore. I think it's Cardona that says, in 48 hours, you're old news. Something big happened, 48 hours, people are going to forget about it. That's just how the world we live in here in pro wrestling, unfortunately. Did we really need both El Grande Americanos? Yes, that actually was a part of my dislikes, was how the Saudi Arabian crowd treated that spot, because I really think this spot was great. This is a spot that they run back in the past with, like, Dude Love, Mankind, Cactus Jack. I think the gimmicky stuff is funny and serves a purpose in the Royal Rumble. We basically had the Spider-Man meme going on in the ring with the Americanos, and Chad Gable looked jacked. Chad Gable looked great, and I loved it. But they didn't deserve this spot. They didn't deserve the El Grande Americano lore. The disrespect is real. Kine is here. I was wondering where you were at. Right when I'm about to finish up, too. You're skating. Don't die out there, brother. Stay safe out there. You can watch this back on the replay later. It's okay. I believe you probably will. And while you're here, scan that QR code while you're at it. A couple more things, though, from the Men's Royal Rumble, and then we'll get the hell out of here. First off, make sure you hit that QR code, like I said. Follow us on all the socials so you can keep up. But let's talk about the treatment of Ilya Dragunov in this matchup. Ilya Dragunov, his entire WWE career, has been a killer, a badass, the Mad Dragon. He would chop the shit out of you. He's one of the few people that beat Walter. When Gunther was Walter, Walter was a mythical legend in professional wrestling. Ilya Dragunov beat him. Ilya Dragunov's one of the toughest sons of bitches that WWE has to offer. But when Brock Lesnar's in the ring, I'm sorry, brother, you just turned into JD McDonough. And that's not a shot at JD McDonough, because JD McDonough is very talented. But on the totem pole, JD McDonough is the ragdoll. Brock Lesnar buried Ilya Dragunov in this Royal Rumble match. And I get it. Brock Lesnar is the beast incarnate. He is a spectacle. But you spent Ilya Dragunov's entire career building him up to be a badass, and in the moment where he could be treated like a badass against another badass, he just looks like a bitch? I don't know. I think it's down to Brock. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's what I thought too. That's a great point, Kind. I think it's down to Brock not watching or knowing who people are. That might be the case. And if that's the case, the agents booking the match need to tell Brock, stay away from Ilya, or make Ilya look strong. Otherwise, you're just neglecting the fact and you don't care. He sells for people he respects, so he clearly either doesn't know who he is or doesn't either respect him for no reason. It could be either or. I've heard people that don't like working with Ilya just because he works so strong, but I mean, you're in the wrong industry if you're not going to be able to handle that. Dom is going to defend the Mega Championship on March 14th. Who's he got? Who's he facing? There was another thing I disliked, by the way. I just thought of it. This is just another personal thing. Logan Paul in the Final Four, I didn't think we needed. I like Logan Paul, not as a human, as a professional wrestler. I think he provides value to the WWE. I'm not a Logan Paul hater by any means, but couldn't have Oba Femi in the Final Four? Just throwing that out there. Could have just kept Oba. Oh, he's got Vikingo. Okay, that would be a fun matchup, Vikingo versus Dom. I think the chops is fair to not sell, but he did just kind of smile, scream at him, and chuck the Mad Dragon out like nothing. That's what pissed me off. It's like, I get it. You can no-sell maybe one chop, laugh at one chop, because Brock Lesnar is a big motherfucker. He's bigger than Ilya Dragunov. I get it. But at the same time, you spent all of his career making him look like the killer in NXT, and then he has, I think this is his first Royal Rumble appearance, and then he looks like the biggest bitch in the Rumble? That sucks. I don't like that. Just overall, like I said last night, I'll say it again, underwhelming men's Royal Rumble. But I do want to say this as the Royal Rumble as a whole. Just because it was underwhelming to me doesn't mean I didn't like it. It definitely had elements that I enjoyed. I think as a whole, I'd give the entire PLE a B-. You know, it was just safe. I think safe and underwhelming is just the two words that I would use to describe this entire PLE as a whole. And you can honestly say that about a lot of WWE shows right now. Even though Saturday night's main event was a very good one. Probably been spoken about, but I loved how Oba was made to look like a beast, and then they kind of killed it by having him get wiped out by Brock. Doesn't do anything for Brock at all. So I agree. I see where you're coming from. I agree with the first part, but I think it does do something. I think it plants the seeds for a match. I don't think Oba needs to make that statement right away against Brock Lesnar. I think we need to build to that spot to where Oba makes Brock look like a bitch. I think that's all this is leading to. I do think this is going to be the direction for WrestleMania. And by the way, if you got comments and you got takes, I will hang out as long as possible. I do need to get to the gym eventually. Other than that, I don't think I have much going on today. So if you got things to talk about, this is a morning talk show. We could talk about anything. What else you got for me, Kai? Especially given that it's a time casuals tune in. Yeah, they're not going to think anything about Ilya. 100% true. This is one of the biggest casual PLE watching, shows they put out there. The crowd sucked. I mean, the crowd just... I don't care if anybody comments here and it's like, I was in that crowd, or I'm from Saudi Arabia, fuck you. No, you guys suck. You don't deserve this. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Stop apologizing. That's the Midwest in me. I'm already ready for Soul on the Main. Do you call them up together or separate them? So that's a good question, Eric. Love that question. I think you separate them. Even though I could see them calling up Zaruka together because, they really haven't hit their ceiling as a group. They haven't captured gold. So maybe they're waiting for them to capture the Knockouts tag titles, and they could put the Knockouts tag titles on the main roster, show off Zaruka a little bit with the Knockouts titles, and then you do the split on the main roster. I think that's probably the direction they're going to go. But, man, you can go either way, and I'm with you, man. I'm ready for Soul and Zarya to be on the main roster. Oba versus Brock at Mania, be expecting something good, not Omos versus Brock. No, I was there for Omos versus Brock, too. That was WrestleMania 39. I was in attendance for that. But, man, if that is the direction they go, so let's start thinking about Brock's future. Brock's going to have Oba at Mania and then Gunther at SummerSlam. If those are his last two matches, good job, WWE. That's what we want. Put the future in front of Brock Lesnar and kill Brock Lesnar. Oba, bang, smashes him at WrestleMania. Brock starts going on a mini killing spree before SummerSlam. And then Gunther steps up to him. He's like, you're old, Brock. Time to go to the farm. He takes him out in his hometown in Minneapolis, and I'll be there. Probably wearing Gunther gear, because fuck Brock Lesnar. Did you go to the National Championship Parade? I didn't. It was 12 degrees out in Indiana. We had a major snowstorm happening, so I couldn't even travel. It was 3 hours to get to Bloomington, so... Me and Robbie, excuse me, I got a little cough. Me and Robbie have been getting into WWE trading cards. Joined a break last night. He spent 50 pound overall, pulled a 20 pound Tiffy in the first box. Dude, if you like cards, you need to talk to GBH here at the Main Event Wrestling Network. He's always doing card sales and whatnot, and he knows a lot about cards. Everybody here at the Main Event Wrestling Network knows a lot about that kind of stuff. So while we're talking about the Main Event Wrestling Network and winding down episode 1 of Kayfabe Coffee here with Kyle, hit that subscribe button, guys. We're at 265, I believe, right now. We're on the road to 300. We're going to be doing a lot of things. Like I said, I think this show will be live every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. We're going to take Wednesdays off because I work really late nights on Tuesdays for NXT Night Shift. But make sure you're following us on X and on Instagram at mainevent_net. That's the best way to keep up with all Main Event Network related things. Scan that QR code. Give me a follow on IG and X at 2SweetKyle. I post a lot of clips on there. And like I mentioned on my socials and I mentioned at the beginning of this show, unfortunately, I was laid off last week. So this is my full-time job now. So I'm going to give you all I got here. And all I ask is just your support and your follow in return. Maybe even tell a friend to hit that subscribe button and check out the OnTheMarkWrestlingPodcast.com, because we got not only OTM merch, obviously, we have Main Event Wrestling merch as well. So that's the best way to support everybody here at the network and help us keep the lights on, because it is not free to have StreamYard. It costs me $45 a month to do what we do here. But Brock loses to Oba, Kind says. Then in weeks to SummerSlam, he feuds Gunther. Gunther takes him out. If he wants to work one more show, give me Brock versus Ilya, even if Ilya loses. So I love that. That's a great shout. I would love to see Brock versus Ilya too, and Ilya does not need to win. You're right. As long as Ilya just looks really tough, that might be the tune-up match to Gunther. That might be the Money in the Bank match. You might do Lesnar versus Oba at WrestleMania, Lesnar versus Ilya at Money in the Bank or whatever show is before SummerSlam, and then Gunther versus... Because Brock can't go into that Gunther match on a loss. He's got to go in with a win. I like where your head's at, man. You're cooking. We love the streams. Always be supporting. Plug the OTM stream on Thursday in the card. I love that. Appreciate you, kind. Cheers. I'm going to get a little coffee. There we go. There's 300 of us, so if only 10 people check it out, they can tell a few. Big ripple effect. That's what people are saying. I'll tell you what, I'm going to be here every single day. That's not a Wednesday. So we got a lot more main event moves coming your way. So thank you guys for stopping by and talking Royal Rumble with me. I did not think I was capable of talking 50 minutes by myself. But when I have people interacting like this is going to be the key going forward. And I know everybody has real life jobs. I know you guys are busy. But even if you want to stop by and leave a comment later, I will interact with you later. So if you're watching this live at a later date, hello, leave a comment. I'll respond. I guarantee it. Money in the Bank is in September. Okay, so it's not before SummerSlam. So what is before SummerSlam then? We need a PLE. I need to know. Fuck it, give me it on a Raw. I mean, we could get it on a Raw. I wouldn't be mad at it. I'm just curious on what the PLE is before SummerSlam, because I think that is the path that we just booked right there for Brock Lesnar. Brock versus Oba, WrestleMania 42. Brock versus Ilya at the PLE before SummerSlam. He beats Ilya, but Ilya goes the distance. And then Gunther retires Brock Lesnar. Oh, yeah, that'd be perfect. At a Crown Jewel, I think that Ilya-Brock match would be perfect for a Crown Jewel. Nice Saturday day show. Or a Backlash. Ooh, Backlash would make sense. Backlash could make sense. They could allude to what happened during the Royal Rumble, that Brock just treated Ilya like a bitch, and then Ilya can just be like, hey, you disrespected the Mad Dragon. Now you're getting the horns. Who knows? Rumored to be Clash at the Castle in Wales again. Clash at the Castle is always fun. I just wish they did more than 4 matches, because those European crowds are great. The Saudi crowds, not so much. But yeah, overall, Royal Rumble for me gets a B-, maybe a C+, like Kind said. It's definitely in that 78 to 82 range for me. Nothing really actually a lot of things pissed me off. I shouldn't say that. But, as a whole, it was underwhelming and safe. Not bad, underwhelming and safe. But that's all I got for you guys today. I'll be back tomorrow morning, live at 9 a.m. Eastern, recapping Monday Night Raw. So come back to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 300 subscribers, and give us a follow at @mainevent_net. I'm going to finish this cup of brew and get to the gym, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Thanks again for hanging out for Kayfabe Coffee episode